Right, very simply, I am sure we have worked out that we have all been living under massive deceptions for all of our lives, our parents, our grandparents, and in fact most, if not all of our ancestors. And I find it very hard to even think of things where we're not being deceived. And I'd like to start at the beginning, explain them to you, start at the beginning. And I start right at the very beginning with one, I think, basic truth, which we can work from. And within a few screens, hopefully you'll understand why I've started this way and where I'm going with the argument. The basic truth I start with is the universe, whatever it is the truth. If it isn't, we are in deep shit. I add another truth very quickly after that, because I'm looking at life forms right at this moment. And I say, let's add another one. Life exists within the universe. I believe that's true as well. You wouldn't be here, neither would I, if that wasn't true. But I'll also add another one. Life exists within the universe on planets, at the very least. This is allowing for the fact that life might exist in outer space. We don't know. But it certainly exists on planets because we live on one. A rather beautiful one, from my point of view, and especially this part of it. But let's think about that another way round. It's saying life exists where it can be supported by the universe. Now that's now moving away to something that's perhaps slightly less obvious. And then we go a bit further and say life can't exist if it's not supported by the universe. And why is that important to consider? I think it's very important to consider because there are approximately, no one's actually come up with an exact figure, there are approximately 1.7 million examples of sentient life on planet Earth. That's life that's aware of itself, which also includes, bacteria and things like that, of course. That's like amoebas and stuff like that, things that grow, all the way up to human beings. Now, the question is, can these life forms exist without full support from the planet? Okay, what would happen if any aspect of this full support couldn't exist? And full support, by the way, not only includes the obvious, perhaps like light, heat, water, for us I mean, and for most species. Light, even plants, for example, need the light, need the heat, need the water and so on, need the minerals from the ground. Okay, so I'm talking about non-sentient life there. Let's even go that far. But also, of course, there's other aspects, the ability to procreate. Okay, if you have a life form that doesn't have the ability to procreate, it will die out. Getting rid of waste materials, that's another one. That's got to happen. Otherwise you would, if Thomas Crapper hadn't invented the pull chain, we'd fill up and Mr. Creosote, wouldn't we? Blow up. Okay, the planet has to support this. For example, what did we do before the big pharmaceutical companies started to get going about 200 years ago? How did we get rid of our diseases, our problems? I think we know the answer to that. The plants provided. And homeopathic doctors have absolute enormous great tomes of cures for every single thing that can go wrong with a human being and also quite a lot of the domestic animals, using nothing more than plants, which can be found in various places on the planet. The earth provides everything, including the means to fix us when we go wrong. So it provides our light, our heat, our water, our food, and to fix us as well when we go wrong. Full support. Now, the point is, if anything necessary to support a life form does not exist within the basic resources, then that life can't exist, or if it actually starts up, it's going to die out. So now I've come to the point I'm trying to make, which is, I hope I have, yes. What is not provided by the planet that we believe is absolutely essential? How about money, legalese, religion and politics? If the earth provided these, yes, I would say it was essential. But the earth does not provide any of those. So I say they're not essential to life. In fact, they're all, by the way, exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. And what's worse, they are all massive deceptions. They all thoroughly depend on, I suggest, misplaced faiths. And they result in nothing more than mind prisons. David Icke's description being prisons without the bars. If you want to keep somebody in prison, put them in a mind prison. There's no bars, they think they're free. What was it Edmund Burke said? Those most hopelessly enslaved are those who falsely believe that they are free. They think they're free. They go about their life never realizing that they're hopelessly enslaved. Okay, let's look at this. Let's analyse what I just said. Start in reverse order. Politics. What is it? What is politics? Faith placed in something or someone. Your MP, your government. Now, is this placed correctly? Is it reasonably placed, or is it misplaced? What do you think? Do you love David Cameron and Gordon Brown and Tony Blair and John Major and Margaret Thatcher and so on? Yes. Well, I know what I think. Let's look at the second one, religion. Faith placed in something. Your priest, your vicar, your father, an almighty. Is that reasonably placed? What do you think? I say, if one person has a delusion, it's called insanity. If billions have the same delusion, it's called religion, is what I say. Legalese, what's that? Legalese is an English look-alike. It's the language in which statutes are written. So it's got English words printed. The catch is the meanings are not the same as the meanings that you would read if you only knew Oxford English. That's the catch. One very important distinction in legalese is the word person. P-E-R-S-O-N, person. In legalese, I'm sure most people here would think that they are a person. In legalese, yes, that's true. Everybody here is a person. The problem with legalese is it goes on and adds another definition. It says any group of people can, for legal purposes, be called a person. So you've got the situation where it defines a human being with limbs, with mind, with DNA, a human being that could be jailed as a person. It calls a natural person. And then it goes on to define corporations, companies, as a different kind of person. They calls an artificial person, but a person nevertheless. So in the statute, the word person can mean a company, or it can mean you. Now, a company doesn't have DNA. A company doesn't have a mind, doesn't have a brain. A company can't be jailed. You can't put a company into jail. A company doesn't have limbs. It can't even pick up a pen and write its own mark. And yet, according to legalese, you can equate that with someone like yourselves who can pick up a pen and make your mark. Even if you can't spell, you can at least make a cross. And you've got a brain. You can hold knowledge. You've got memory. You can remember what happened. And you can be jailed. But you can't jail a company. So how could you possibly, it's absurd to think that you could possibly have faith in legalese. And by the way, person is not the only one, not by a long way. There's a lot of words that have been expanded, in the meaning expanded. The word understand, for example, is another one. You think it means to comprehend. Yes, it does. But it also means to stand under what legalese dictates. To stand under. There are others.